Welcome back to another Mustang Monday. I am excited to get started tonight. We have a great live lined up. We are going to be joining with Cal Poly Orientation, new student and transition programs, and they are going to be talking about what kind of services and opportunities they offer. So I'm going to accept them now. Give me 1 second. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, no problem.
So I was just kind of introducing what we're going to be talking about tonight. So you two are part of new student and transition programs. So I'm assuming we're going to be just reviewing what that looks like at Cal Poly, what recently accepted students should look for, what kind of programs and opportunities you offer.
Yeah, so we'll start. We can introduce ourselves. So my name is Emily Takeda, and I use she, her pronouns. Here at Cal Poly, I'm a fourth-year history major and event planning minor, and I'm one of the co-chairs for our open house committee.
Awesome.
I'm Joshua Seamus. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am a second-year agricultural science major here at Cal Poly.
Awesome. And I'm sure that a few of you watchers know who I am by this point, but my name is Olivia Jones, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am a fourth-year communications major. I work in Cal Poly admissions, but I'm also a PolyRep, so we are the official university ambassadors and tour guides for Cal Poly. So I think that all of us collectively have a lot of kind of information and insight about what it is to be a student here. So yeah, do you want to kind of review what you are involved in within new student transition programs and kind of an overview of what that looks like at Cal Poly?
Yeah, would you like to start?
Sure. So I am a part of the customer service staff team at New Student and Transition Program. So I'm kind of answering the phone, answering emails of any questions that students or supporters have about orientation specifically, such as our events like open house, SLO Days, and WOW. We also do some background event planning, such as room reservations and other stuff like that. But just to get the whole event started and prepared for new students.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so like I said, I'm one of the co-chairs for our open house committee, and so I'm a part of the team that oversees the body of students that has been planning and now putting on our open house weekend. And so everything that people will see at open house is touched by students, and so we're all really excited to have it come to life.
Great. So speaking of open house, since it's next weekend, do you want to talk about it? What can people expect if they're planning on coming to SLO?
I would love nothing more than to talk about open house. So to provide the context, open house is our preview weekend for admitted students and their supporters to get a taste of life here at Cal Poly. And so, of course, why should students attend? Because there's really nothing like getting to experience Cal Poly in person, especially now that we are so privileged to be back in person and be in the state that we can do those things and see each other and interact with each other again. There are lots of different events that students will get to experience, such as meeting with their colleges and their departments, meeting with alumni and other students, and then supporters will also get to connect with each other and learn from each other's experiences. And so I really can't speak enough about how great those connections are going to be for those new students.
Yeah, definitely. So I came to open house weekend when I was accepted into Cal Poly. I was deciding between two schools, and I went to both of the open houses, and I was convinced that I was going to go to the other school, but coming to Cal Poly open house just instantly changed my mind. I mean, I just had this gut feeling that Cal Poly was the place for me, and so I highly recommend people going, meeting with faculty, students, taking a tour of campus if you can, and just really feeling like you can immerse yourself into the kind of student life and culture, because I think that that's the best way to figure out if it's the best school for you.
Totally, yeah, and as great as social media can be, and if people are on like Cal Poly TikTok, it's awesome to be a part of. But nothing like being here in person and getting to interact with the students, and our student leaders are really excited to get to talk with our admitted students and their families.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff happens at open house?
So much. We've got such a range of events going on. So open house kicks off on Thursday, so the 7th, with our farmers market. So it's the regular farmers market that SLO puts on every week, but then in addition to that, we will have a section of that farmers market dedicated to Cal Poly. And so us new student and transition programs will be there, plus a bunch of clubs getting to start meeting these students and their supporters. And then Friday is dedicated to admitted students. So this is where they'll get to meet with their colleges, go on campus tours, on housing tours, and then they'll also get to go to an admitted student mixer, and then supported will also get to go to their own mixer. And then Saturday is dedicated to the tradition of the Poly Royal and getting to see the community here on campus and in the community surrounding the campus. We'll get to see a parade, a lot of performances from Cal Poly community members, and a lot more.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I went to the mixer in the evening and I was kind of nervous, but me and my friend from high school went, and she actually met her roommate there. So you never know what's going to happen. So it's definitely exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's a scary thing. I remember when I went to open house, and it's a nerve-wracking thing to meet new people, but I'm still friends with some of the folks that I met with at open house, and I went to open house and knew that this is the thing that I wanted to be a part of. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend open house in person my year, as I was the COVID year for open house. But I got to experience it virtually, which was still an amazing experience. It definitely gave me that extra bump into the door to say yes to Cal Poly. So it's definitely a great opportunity for students.
Yeah, speaking of COVID, is there going to be any virtual opportunities for people that can't make it or aren't comfortable?
There will. So we have our open house weekend next week, but then the following week, for the entire week, we will have a virtual open house. And so folks will be able to attend Zoom webinars and sessions, socials, to get the same effects of the in-person open house, getting to learn and connect with other folks, just virtually. And so we have two different ways of how folks can register. For the in-person open house, admitted students will have received an email to their Cal Poly email, and they will be able to register there. Whereas for our virtual open house, they can register through our orientation website.
Got it. Awesome. So virtual is going to be, similar presentations and opportunities, but in like a Zoom format.
Correct.
Cool. So we have a few questions. A lot of them I think will be admissions acceptances questions, so just beware of those. Someone asked, is freshman housing based on major? So I can answer that. So housing is going to be based on residential learning communities. So these are kind of communities that are grouped by an interest, whether that be College of Engineering people, if you want to live with College of Business people. So surround yourself with people either inside or outside of your major. But then we also have leadership groups. We have global living. We have cultural groups, pride groups. So tons of different residential learning communities that kind of help you figure out not where you want to live, but who you want to live with. Hopefully that answers that question. How does Polycultural Weekend compare to open house? I don't know if either of you can speak to Polycultural Weekend.
I'm not aware of Polycultural Weekend.
Yeah, so Polycultural Weekend, I haven't attended PCW, so I'll say that up front. However, PCW is held by SDAV, or Student Diversity and Belonging, and their student leadership team. And so it's the same intention as open house, of getting folks to learn about what life is like at Cal Poly and getting to meet with other students. However, it has a multicultural focus with it. And like, I can speak as a woman of color who came to Cal Poly, which is a predominantly white institution. I did have a lot of anxieties about attending that kind of school with the identities that I hold. And I know that a lot of folks that did attend PCW were able to learn a lot about what community and safety would look like at Cal Poly, and I've never heard a bad experience from PCW. So if you're thinking about it even a little bit, I would absolutely recommend it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend, if you belong to a certain cultural group, or you're kind of interested in getting a at those different student diversity and belonging centers. They definitely provide some great opportunities for you to connect with other people, to, you know, explore the different centers and student diversity and belonging efforts that are happening on campus. I know that we as PolyReps are doing tours this weekend for PCW, so that people can get a tour of campus and get it from a specifically cultural lens. So yeah, like you said, I think that it's definitely worth it if you're considering going. I haven't had a bad thing either. Another question. When is Cal Poly sending acceptance letters for the College of Engineering? So Cal Poly has already started rolling out admissions decisions. So you know, they've been doing it over the past few weeks, but you'll definitely hear by April 1st. So in the next couple of days, you will hear of your admissions decision, and that whether that be acceptance, waitlist, or declined. So you'll hear by April 1st of your final admissions decision. Is there a way to find out if they're qualified to be exempt of the housing fee because of financial aid? Yeah, that's a great question. I would definitely check out the housing website as well as the financial aid website. And I'm sure that once you fill out the housing application, I would hope that they have some sort of signifier of whether you could be exempt from the fee. If not, if you can't find any other answers to the question, then Instagram DM Cal Poly Admissions and someone will be able to help you. What time does open house start on Friday?
On Friday, so we have a few events that kind of range the entire morning, and so those things will start at 8 a.m. We have our check-in and our resource fair, and so those, as they'll be out for the entire morning of that Friday, you can come in when you want to, of course, prioritizing the check-in so that we might be giving away some Cal Poly swag, so I think you might need to get to the check-in. And then we will have our university welcomes that kind of the mid-morning, and so it'll depend on what college you're admitted with, and so like I'm a history major, I would be going to the College of Liberal Arts University Welcome, and you can find that full schedule on our website.
Yeah, that's awesome. I picked up a ton of swag, well, just walked Mustang way. Pretty much every club has a sticker or something to give you, so pretty cool to kind of interact with all those resources. Is freshman housing, is that showing up? Is freshman housing preference granted on a first come first served basis? So freshman is housing is required for all freshmen, so you're guaranteed housing as a freshman. Excuse me. You just have to fill out the housing application before the deadline. And I believe that because of COVID and just kind of to make it more of an equitable process, they aren't doing it on a first come first served basis anymore. So as long as you complete the housing application by the deadline, you will be guaranteed freshman housing. Have transfer acceptances been sent out? This is not something I personally know, but I want to say no, not yet. I think because you had to update your transcripts based on your second semester grades, I believe that the transfer application acceptances come out later. I want to say closer to June. But again, I would just Instagram DM this account and they can give you a better answer. Is the transfer panel a Q&A?
Yes, so that transfer, it's got a few components to it where there will also be a focus on the social aspect of getting to connect with some other transfer students, as we have been wanting to extend the focus on our transfer admitted students to bring more intentionality to the experiences of that group. And so we're really excited to have that event this year, so I would really recommend going.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It's honestly, I would say that the transfer population at Cal Poly is slightly smaller than some other schools. So I think that getting that chance to speak with transfer students is a great opportunity. Do you have to make reservations for campus and housing tours? So the way that tours are going to work through open house is on Saturday, we are going to be giving tours every single hour, starting in the University Union. So you're going to want to come to the University Union and there will be tour groups leaving every hour. So we'll be there's going to be tons of us, and you can just hop on. So there'll be shorter tours. They'll be an hour long, and we'll review kind of basic information about Cal Poly and the experiences we've had. So definitely recommend doing one of those tours and just hopping on in the UU. Do you have any information about housing tours specifically, or the kind of housing experience at open house?
Housing, I believe, is working pretty well.
Yeah. I don't think there'll be a housing tour during open house. You would have to schedule that with the housing department. So I would check out the housing department's website or even contact them personally.
Awesome. Yeah. I think that it's kind of crazy to do housing tours when people are living there, but I'm not sure either. Well,
not sure. I haven't heard from them yet, but I would recommend reaching out to that group, as I'm not sure what the tours look like during since COVID.
Yeah. Will students and guests be required to separate for the open house mixer? I'm assuming that means is it just for admitted students, or is it for supporters too?
Yeah, so referring to the student mixer being Friday Night Invite and the supporter mixer being our coffee house. Is it required? No, we are not requiring anyone to go to a specific thing. Of course, it's recommended that students go to Friday Night Invite and supporters go to the coffee house, because those are the groups that those events are meant for, and will be more salient connections to be making. But if anyone is really wanting to go to one or the other, then that's good with us. We're really just excited for people to get to meet people.
Okay, so pretty much anyone can go, but it's geared towards admitted. Cool. When will we be able to sign up for SLO Days and WOW? Do parents attend either of those orientations?
Yeah, should I touch on registration?
Yeah, so registration for SLO Days and WOW has not been sent out yet. So I would definitely make sure your student is checking their emails, keeping it up to date, because there will be an email sent out for those SLO Days and WOW registration. Your student will have to register a supporter while they are registering themselves for SLO Days and WOW. There'll be an extra tab. It'll ask you if you'd like to register a supporter. You click yes if you'd like, or no if you don't want a supporter. You could always change later on. You'd have to email orientation at Cal Poly if you'd like to add a supporter or cancel a supporter's registration. But yes, those events registration will be sent out later on. So I'll keep it out.
Yeah. While we're, do you want to kind of review what SLO Days and WOW is?
Yeah, would love to. And I believe the date for that the registration opens for SLO Days and WOW is April 6th. And as a side note, if you're a supporter and you're thinking about going to SLO Days, I would absolutely recommend it. My mom still talks about how much she loves SLO Days, so would recommend. Yeah, so for SLO Days, it is our summer orientation. It is 2 days and 1 night, and students will come into campus and they will get to go to an orientation group, so a smaller group of students that they'll get to spend the session with, and they'll get to hear from different campus resources, faculty, and administration, get to learn more about the campus while getting to experience what it's like to spend a night in our residence halls.
Great, yeah.
Oh, and then for WOW, I forget when the 2-part questions happen, but so Week of Welcome is our fall orientation and is the notorious Cal Poly Week of Welcome. Been around for many, many decades. So similarly, their students will be in a group like at SLO Days, but that group will be made of people from their residence hall. So it's kind of a built-in immediate community to start their fall quarter. And then their WOW leaders will have planned out a really fun week of things to do around SLO to get to learn about the campus and then get to do things all around San Luis Obispo. One of my favorite things that I did with my WOW group was go kayaking in Morro Bay. So every WOW group is unique and different, and all great experiences.
Yeah, I love SLO Days and WOW. I think SLO Days is definitely full on. Your schedule is jam-packed full of, scheduling and academic advising and, presentations. And so they really want to make sure that coming into Cal Poly, you are fully equipped to handle everything that's thrown at you. But it is cool because you get to spend, you know, a night in the dorms and make those connections. And so I know that a lot of people are still friends with people from their SLO Days group, which is fun. And then WOW is nationally ranked. I believe it's like the #1 student orientation program in the nation. And it really just throws you in, and you are meeting and hanging out with these people that you're living with. So I think that a lot of people at Cal Poly generally have an easier transition because they've had that student orientation program. Yeah. Another question we've had is, how pronounced is Greek life at Cal Poly? So about 20% of students join Greek life. So we have our social fraternities and sororities, and then we have our multicultural fraternities and sororities as well. So depending on what you're interested in, you can join either of those two sides of it. So I would say the general vibe is you can join it if you want to, or you don't have to, and it's not going to prevent you from having a social life. It's not one of those schools where that's the whole experience. So it's really up to you, and there's definitely a lot of different ways about getting involved in Greek life, and they'll be present at open house and a lot of the kind of orientation programs. So if you have any more questions, you'll definitely be able to speak with someone there. Okay, we have a few more. When waitlist applications will get their decisions. So I believe that waitlisted people will know about the final decisions. I believe it's July 1st. I know that they do like a rolling waitlist. So after decisions day, that's when a lot of things will come in, because people would have made their final decisions, and therefore they can start moving through the waitlist. But there isn't necessarily like a set you will hear by this point. So I think that you just really have to keep checking your emails and everything, and contacting people to determine whether you get off the waitlist. Did you guys already go over the acceptance questions? Yeah, so you'll be hearing by April 1st of your acceptance decision as for a first-time freshman. And then your decision day is May 1st, so you'll have to make your decision by that point. And then transfers, I believe, start hearing in June. But again, like I said, I'm not an admissions officer, so I don't know all of the full details. So if you want specific details, I would contact admissions at calpoly.edu, Instagram this account, or call Cal Poly admissions phone number. Okay. Is there a major difference between Friday open house and Saturday?
There is a major difference, and this is a good segue. I'm going to pull in one of my co-chairs, and Isabella, and then Isabella will be able to better touch on the Saturday events. Here she is.
Hi, everybody. My name is Isabella. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the other open house co-chairs, and I'm currently a grad student in the Master of Tax.
Awesome.
So the difference between Friday and Saturday is that Friday is more of our admitted students day, so think kind of academic. So we have university welcomes, which is a really fun time where you'll get to see the band, dance team, and things like that, and we kind of just kick off the day, and then students will get to go to their respective colleges with their supporters and learn more about their individual major and programs. And then we also have a resource fair on that day, and we have the student social at night, and a supporter social going on at the same time. And then Saturday is, we like to call it Poly Rodeo Day. So there's going to be a parade. That's when the club fair is. We have over 150 clubs that will be there. So hopefully you'll be able to find one that you like. And then we also have a concert on that day too. So all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great explanation. Can you list different websites or we should be looking into on a story or post? I don't know exactly what this question is specifically asking, but if you're asking about open house, I would definitely follow Cal Poly orientation. That's where I'm assuming you'll be posting a lot of the information, and then follow Cal Poly admissions. You can check out our YouTube channel, Cal Poly websites. There's tons of different online resources to hopefully answer any questions that you have. Do honors students have to have another honors student as a roommate if they live in the honors dorms? No. So this is a great question. So freshman year, I was accepted into the honors program, but I found a roommate that wasn't in honors, and we were both able to apply to live in the honors housing if we wanted to. We ultimately decided that we didn't want to live in the honors housing, but they would let us apply with both of us, even if one of us wasn't in honors. Is the polycultural event solely for admitted students, or are parents/supporters also welcome? That is a great question. I don't know if any of you know specific details about that. I think it's mostly for students, just because a lot of the programs will be oriented towards the student perspective, just because they want to make sure that at the end of the day, this kind of perspective is ultimately for the students kind of. But I'm assuming that parents and supporters are also welcome, at least for a few of the events. Would you all probably say similar thing?
Yeah, I
Okay.
about Polycultural Weekend to student diversity and belonging, and I'm sure that they would be able to provide a more comprehensive schedule of events.
When is the first day of fall 2022 instruction? I don't have that off the top of my head, but we start around mid-September. Right?
Yeah, I believe that I believe it's the Office of the Registrar should already have those dates up. So if you Google like Cal Poly Fall Quarter 2022, then those dates should be around.
Yeah, so Cal Poly academic calendar, that should help give you the full details. Are SLO Days and WOW geared more towards the students living in dorms?
Is that meaning like I'm not sure if that's meaning like just on campus students, or I guess I can take it in a few directions.
I assume it would probably mean first time freshmen.
Oh, okay.
Versus transfers, whether they're living on campus or off campus.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So for our first year students, it's at SLO Days, yes, they will be staying overnight on campus. However, we have a different transfer SLO Days where they still get to experience the same kind of content as the first years, but there isn't the overnight portion of it because our transfer student population is much more diverse of the daily needs, and not as many of them would be able to stay overnight. And transfers are not required to live on campus as first year students are. So that's another piece of it.
Awesome. Do we have to go to open house?
If you're asking us, the answer is yes. But no, open house is not required, but highly encouraged because it is a really great first step into the Cal Poly community.
Yeah, and I would add, it's a really great way to get to know your resources as well. And if for some reason you can't be with us in person, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, we also have our virtual open house, and all the links will be on our website. So even if you can just tune in to a small session, you can learn about your college, you can learn about SLO Days and WOW, things like that. So try to tune in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that anything helps. It doesn't hurt to just go for it. It was mind-changing for me to go to open house. So I think that if you are deciding about where you want to go to school, or if you're gung-ho, you want to go to Cal Poly, then either one, you're going to benefit from the experience.
True. Can't go wrong.
Exactly. Okay, we have a lot of questions. I don't usually get this many. You're a popular group.
It's a big time. Students.
It is. How do you recommend getting around campus and SLO without a car? Do any of you want to talk about this? Just coming from your perspectives.
Yeah, I didn't have a car for my first 2 years. So one thing was getting involved with extracurriculars around campus and making friends who had cars. And then I was able to guilt them into taking me around. But I also bus a lot. But
Yeah, slow transit and also SLO tends to be a relatively friendly biking area as well. And also, SLO is somewhat walkable when it comes to like campus and downtown and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a senior and I've actually never had a car here. So I have been able to live close enough to campus to walk there to my classes and job, and then use the bus system, zip cars, Ubers, bikes, lots of different ways to get around. Let's see. When can we start signing up? Oh, we already answered that question. If I'm not able to attend the SLO Days in person, is it okay to attend the virtual SLO Days? What do I miss? Are you offering a virtual SLO Days this year?
To my knowledge, yes. I don't believe that that's changed since last year.
Yeah, so I can touch on this question. So we will be offering SLO Days in person and virtual, but for the most part, it will be in person. It really depends on what learning program you're in. So we have the EOP program, or if you're a part of Cal Poly Scholars. So those two learning programs, you will have a certain SLO Day session that you will have to attend, and that is mandatory. But if you're just general admission, then you have a few different selections of what SLO Day sessions you would like to choose. Regarding transfers for SLO Days, those are all virtual sessions. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Someone asked, when is move-in day for fall 2022? Do you know that?
I have no idea.
You know, I don't know, but I do know that the first day of WOW also coincides with the move-in process for the fall, because students will move in and then meet their WOW groups. So I do not know that date.
So generally how it works dates-wise, or this is how it worked for me at least, I think it kind of changed a little bit last year, is you'll move in the weekend before WOW, and then you'll start classes on the Thursday, I believe. And then WOW will continue through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then that weekend. I don't know if that's how it's working. But yeah, if you look up the first day of school, generally move-in is the weekend before.
Yeah, and in addition to that, like the dates of Week of Welcome will continue to be updated on our social media and on our website, so I just keep checking in on those.
Yeah. How have you liked the honors program? I've loved being in the honors program. Yeah, so I was invited to join once I got accepted into Cal Poly, and then I submitted an application, and then I've been part of it since my freshman year. So the whole premise of it is that they like to foster like intellectual development as well as service and interdisciplinary kind of experiences. So you're with people from every single different major, and you can live with people in the honors program if you want to. Freshman dorms, there'll be an area where honors students lives. I did a 3-course sustainability class. So my whole freshman year I was in a 3-unit sustainability course, and then beyond that I've done honors courses, I've done extracurricular honors experiences, service projects. I've been a mentor to younger honors students. It's a really cool way just to kind of meet a bunch of people and to kind of be around like-minded individuals. So I would definitely recommend applying, whether they ask you to apply or not, and look up the Cal Poly Honors Program Instagram if you have any more questions. See. Just to clarify, there would be no difference in housing priority if I were to commit to Cal Poly and register for housing today versus a few weeks from now. that is something that I think that you should clarify through the housing website. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Like I said, I believe that they're not having a kind of priority process anymore, but that is not something I'm completely sure of. So I would definitely check out. I'm assuming and hoping that on the housing application, it will clarify that, or on the housing website. You can also Instagram DM housing, Cal Poly on Instagram, or email housing@calpoly.edu. Okay, a lot of these have architecture acceptances come out, have animal science admissions come out. So I'll adjust that question again. Have all acceptances been sent out already? The answer is no, not officially. So I know that they're still releasing some acceptances. So there's going to be a few of you that will still be hearing in these next few days. But like I said, April 1st is that final day that you'll be hearing of your decisions. So be patient until then and just keep checking your portal and your email. Do students, families typically come to all of WOW, or do they only come here, move in, and then leave?
So our week of welcome kicks off. One of the first events is our big fall welcome, and that is for all of our new students, or also lovingly known as our WOWies, in addition to their supporters. And so that first event is for everybody. However, the rest of the week is focused on those students and their WOW groups, and we do not have any more structured events for supporters. And so while folks are welcome to stay and experience San Luis Obispo, it's also not a time where you're really going to get to spend time with your student, because they're going to be with their WOW group the entire time.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Have any of you studied abroad pre-COVID, and what year can students do this? Did any of you study abroad by chance?
I did not. No.
That's okay. I can answer. I would say in general, the most popular time to study abroad is fall of your junior year. I would say that that is when the most people study abroad, but that doesn't mean that that's when you have to do it. My roommate actually wanted to study abroad so bad and didn't get the chance to do it her junior year through COVID, that she actually just did it in this fall quarter. So definitely check out study abroad programs online. We have 100 odd programs in like 70 different countries, so there's just so much to choose from. It's definitely an incredible opportunity, and one that I wish I'd had the chance to do. Would you recommend engineering majors to apply to the Honours College? Isn't it already too hard? I know that I had a lot of engineering majors in my year of the Honours College. It's definitely, it doesn't add too much to your weight as a student. So I think that it's something that you're interested in and something that you're interested in getting involved in, then it doesn't hurt to apply. Sorry, a lot of these questions I know do not have to do with new student transition programs.
No, you're fine. All the questions are very valid. It's very exciting time.
Cool. If at any point you will have to leave, let me know and I can tackle all of the rest of the questions myself. Let me try and find ones that are more similar to maybe ones that you can answer. Do a lot of students go home/leave campus over the weekends? I don't know if any of you want to touch on that.
So Cal Poly definitely is a school where a lot of people tend to hang out over the weekends. I know when I was a first year, I did go home probably like 3 weekends total out of the 30 weekends that I was here on campus. So it's not necessarily common, but if you're a hop and a skip and away and you need a little bit of home, totally something that I did as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that same with you. I went probably once a quarter, every quarter my freshman year, just because it is a big transition to go to college and be away from your families. So it really depends, I think, on how that transition works for you, if you need that extra support. But I would say in general, throw yourself into it and enjoy your weekends, because Cal Poly is so much more than just your academics. And I wouldn't say that it's a commuter school at all. People definitely like being in SLO and being on campus. So definitely a balance, and it depends on your experience. Yeah, but I would say most people stay over the weekends. Is it difficult to transfer majors? I know that there's definitely a stigma that it's hard to transfer majors at Cal Poly, but actually about 30% of students change their majors. So you basically just have to, since you declare your major coming in, you do 1 quarter within your major, and then beyond that, you can decide to switch if you want to. You just have to speak to the department chair for whatever major you want to switch into, and then take a couple of classes within that major. And if you meet the certain GPA requirements, then they hopefully, depending on how many students they have, will be able to accept you into it. How does the quarter system work? Do any of you guys want to talk about the quarter system?
Lots, you know, there's a lot to that, to the quarter system. It's very fast paced, as opposed to the semester system, and I think that the academic transition to college already has a big learning curve, and so with anything of the new experience of college, I think that it's about the student allowing themselves the grace to fail and then learn what's best for themselves, because it is a very intense process.
Yeah, definitely. So you'll have classes fall, winter, and spring, and then you can take summer classes if you want to. The cool thing about the quarter system is that if you're in a class and you don't vibe with the professor, or you don't like the class content, you're only in it for 10 weeks and then you're out of there. But on the other hand, if you really are enjoying a class content or a professor, you have more opportunities to take those classes with that professor or in that course subject. Is there an admissions Discord server or some sort of group to meet other people who were admitted? There is Facebook groups. I know that I joined a few Facebook groups. People make Snapchat group chats, Instagram. There's a lot of ways virtually and through social media to meet people that have been admitted and accepted. So if you want to meet people, I definitely recommend joining those groups that you can.
You can also come to open house too.
That you can meet in person, and that's even more fun. How are new students supported in their transition to college life? Well, that's pretty much what you will do. So you want to tackle that question?
Yeah, well, I think a big part of the transition piece of new student and transition programs is really heavy in the week of welcome portion of our program, and that we are placing students, as I said, immediately into this community of people, because it's people that they're living with, and so it's structured so that it is creating the connections for them, and they're right there, and if they're choosing to make the most of it, then those connections are really, really endless. And as well as our orientation has a big focus on resource education and providing the steps for students of where, if I need X, where do I go? And so leading students to those places so that they're not dropping themselves into campus in the fall and not knowing what to do.
Yeah. Great answer. A few more questions. Is studying abroad known to be expensive? Studying abroad definitely can be expensive. You do have to factor in, additional fees, flights, living situations. But the study abroad office definitely wants to make it financially, what is the word? They want to make sure that you don't have to factor in finances too much if you really want to go abroad. And so there are scholarship opportunities and ways that you can budget your expenses so that it can be an opportunity for you. Are there any interesting extracurricular courses that you have enjoyed? Have any of you taken any fun sort of elective classes that you want to talk about?
I can start. So I'm a grad student now, but before I graduated last year, I was able to take a class. It's Biz 482, I think, and it was called Negotiations, and it was basically just a bunch of mock negotiations, starting at like a used car kind of negotiation and moving up towards all sorts of things. And it really like upped my confidence when it came to salary negotiations and things like that.
Cool. Stephen?
Yeah, I would also add, since I am in the College of Ag, I am a little biased. I have taken more of the agriculture fund classes, enterprises. So I've taken the Bull Test Enterprise as well as the Western Bonanza. Bull Test Enterprise, we get a herd of cattle. We pretty much test their genetics, portion out their nutrition, see how they're doing, see how healthy we can get them to their maximum potential and stuff like that, and then have an auction at the end. Western Bonanza is a huge event in the College of Ag for Cal Poly. It's the biggest collegiate livestock show in the world, I believe, or west of the Mississippi, one of those. But it is the biggest goat and sheep show in the world. I will say that, which is kind of insane. And it's completely student run. It is one weekend in February. It is an amazing time. People from all over the country come to show their animals. And I had a great experience with Western Bonanza.
I haven't taken it, but a really popular one is just a 1-unit bowling class at Cal Poly. The only bowling lanes are here on campus, and people just get to go in and learn how to bowl and what recreational bowling looks like. And all the people that I've seen take the class just have glowing things to say about it.
Yeah, I've had the same thing. My roommates are in it right now this quarter, and that was like a bucket list item for them that they wanted to take it. So definitely some cool random 1-unit classes that you can take. Best memories at Cal Poly. No one have any good memories? I hope so. I'm assuming we do.
Gosh.
So many.
There's, I know it's a cop-out answer, but there's really no other school that I can imagine myself being at right now. I've loved my experience at Cal Poly so much, and it's going to be really difficult to leave San Luis Obispo. But one of my favorite things to do here is go hiking. I didn't really get into hiking until I came to SLO, because where I come from, it's just flat. There's nowhere to hike. And so every time that I get to go outside, it just reminds me how lucky I am to live here. And it's also a really great thing to do with friends. And so many trails are walkable from campus, so they're very accessible to everybody, and it's a really cool time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed going to open house, SLO Days, and WOW, and then after that being more involved. Sorry, not to bring it back to that, but more involved in the program, and I'm sure they both can say the same thing. Like, I've made a lot of really awesome memories and met really cool people through this program, so this has really been my favorite thing.
Yeah, I think my best memories would probably be the fun classes, or just the spot of SLO in general. It's like right in the middle of California. You're 3 hours from San Francisco, you're 3 hours from LA. There's a bunch of stuff you can do in between it. So, I mean, the beach is right there, the mountains are right there. You can do anything.
Yeah, all great answers. I would reiterate everything you said. Another question that we got that kind of relates is, how do you make friends? Any recommendations? So I think that pretty much everything you all talked about is a way to make friends. So, you'll hopefully make friends at open house, SLO Days, WOW. They really want to foster those connections straight away, so you can start building those connections. I am best friends with all of my friends from the dorm still. So I love people with a couple of people that I met in the dorms. And so thanks to WOW and those processes, that's what helped me find those friends. And then in terms of classes, I had tons of friends from my classes. And like you said, getting involved. So I'm assuming all three of you are friends. And so, through new student transition programs, you've been able to meet each other. So I think that definitely getting involved off the bat, for me, it was through, the honors program, being in my sorority, joining PolyReps, my job, tons of cool ways that you can meet people. And then that'll really just make your whole experience better at Cal Poly. I don't know if any of you want to add to that.
Ditto to everything. I think you said it perfectly.
What COVID restrictions will be in the fall? So as of pretty much starting spring quarter, you no longer have to wear masks in classrooms if you're fully vaccinated, and it's kind of up to your comfort levels of whether you want to wear a mask or not. But we're very lucky that open house pretty much can happen in full swing this year, and depending on how things go with the pandemic, I would hope that the fall is just a smooth sailing. So Cal Poly definitely handles COVID well and encourage people to get vaccinated and stay safe and get tested. So I would say if we continue on the direction that we're taking right now, then it's looking good. Okay, let's do one final question. What are some traditions on campus? Any events that people look forward to each year?
My favorite that I discovered my first year was the UCSB soccer game. The men's soccer game at Cal Poly is a big one. That's, I think, one of our largest sporting events of the year. So that one's a really fun tradition.
Yeah. The Cal Poly UCSB men's soccer game is actually the largest collegiate soccer rivalry in the nation. So people pack the stadium and, dress up in all their Cal Poly gear. I wouldn't say we're the biggest sports school, but we definitely show up for that game. So yeah, I agree. That's a really fun event that people look forward to.
I would definitely add the Cal Poly Rodeo also being a huge thing in California. Being the biggest collegiate rodeo west of the Mississippi is kind of an exciting thing that Cal Poly can say and have under their belt. It's definitely a huge experience. I haven't experienced yet, but I'm super excited for this year.
Yeah.
To come back.
That's happening this next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going on Wednesday. There's going to be like a concert and a big student night. And then if you're at open house, there'll be the Saturday rodeo too, which would be a fun thing that you can go to. Other than that, yeah, I think people definitely know about WOW, even if they don't go to Cal Poly. Obviously, we're talking about open house and SLO Days, so those are some fun things you can look forward to. And other than that, yeah, they kind of just happen throughout the year, and I just recommend if there's any event you're interested in going to, grab a couple friends and go for it. So we're coming up on an hour, so I want to make sure that we don't over talk. But do you have anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to make sure that we covered today in terms of SLO Days, WOW, open house, any frequently asked questions that you get, last minute additions?
I can touch on the frequent asked questions. So recently we've been getting questions about how to RSVP. We kind of touched on that in the beginning. I don't know if we want to touch on that again. Your student will be receiving an email. If your student was admitted to Cal Poly, they can RSVP there. If not, you can go to our orientation website and RSVP there as well as a prospective student. Other than that, another question we've been getting is if prospective students can attend, I believe it's April 8th, which is the Friday for admitted students. Unfortunately, prospective students will not be able to. That is an admitted students only day for them, where they meet with their college and advisors and speak with their department to find out a little bit more about their major.
Also, to add just kind of a clarification, that's more so the college. So that's more so just for students that are admitted, just because of the capacity. The colleges really want to have time to have it be a more intimate setting to talk to the students that are admitted so they can really connect. But things like the Friday night social, there will also be a resource fair. So if prospective students are around, we definitely encourage you to check those out as well.
Yeah, definitely. Those are great clarifications. Thank you. Well, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's been great, talking about all of our experiences, and I'm definitely excited for open house and for SLO Days and WOW. If you end up deciding to come to Cal Poly, I'm sure we'll maybe can do another one of these coming closer to SLO Days or WOW time to answer any specific questions that everyone may have. But like I said, just hold tight on those admissions decisions. April 1st, you'll definitely hear by then. Keep checking your spam, your portal, all of your emails, and then you can, contact there's tons of resources online for pretty much any question you can have. So definitely use your resources and keep checking in on Cal Poly admissions. We'll have another Instagram Live next Monday, so tune in for that to learn more about a different program that we have on campus. But thank you all so much for joining me this evening, and I hope that you have a great open house and that all of your hard work pays off.
Thank you so much for having us. We'll see you at open house.
See you. Bye. Thank you.
Hey there, my name's Rafael. I'm a fourth-year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comments section. Click here to subscribe, and to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a campus visit, we're offering in-person and virtual options, so check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.